and the love for strategy and partnership.
Family office. How do you think about capital?
Hi, I'm Dorian Lamb, and welcome to Season 2 of Start with the Close in Mind. In real estate, business, and life, the people who win aren't the ones who react. They prepare, they think ahead, they see the close long before the rest of the room does. After a year of conversations with top operators and decision makers, this season goes even deeper into what it takes to close deals the right way. We'll break down the strategies, the mistakes, the mindset, and the real stories that reveal how successful people navigate complexity and come out on top. Every episode brings insights from leaders who have been in the trenches and can show you the difference between hoping a deal closes and engineering the outcome from the start. This is Season 2 of Start with the Close in Mind. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Start with the Close in Mind. Today's episode is about perspective. In real estate, most people operate from generally one, no more than two lenses. They're either operators, advisors, or capital providers. And because of that, they generally only see part of the opportunity or only look at it from one perspective. My guest today, Kristin Fortino, sits across many. She's the founder of OnePoint Real Estate Group, where she focuses on investment sourcing and advisory. She also operates within a family office where she's involved in strategy and evaluating opportunities from a capital perspective. That combination gives her a very unique way of looking at deals. Today, we're going to unpack that, how operators advise and capital sees the same deal differently, how you develop better instincts over time, and how thinking this way connects back to Start with the Close in Mind. Because the more perspectives you have, the better you become at identifying real opportunities. Kristin, welcome. Let's start with your background and how your career evolved into the roles you have today.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you, Dorian. I'm so happy to be here. My real estate career has not exactly been the straightest line, which sort of alluded to from the beginning, but I've always trusted the path, and I'm very grateful for where I started and where I am now. So my real estate career started 10 years ago. I started as a real estate salesperson in Manhattan, and I sold real estate for about 7 to 8 years, strictly condos and co-ops. And towards the end, I started really selling more multifamilies on the smaller side, 2 to 3 families in Brooklyn. And what I loved about all of that was I got to sell the emotional side of it, which was where people own an asset and then they want to sell it or buy one. And then I evolved into this strategy where people were looking at multifamilies, not so much as, their home, their primary home, but more for an investment. And as my interest started to evolve, I started noticing that my family office, which is called Metropolis Group, we're building code and zone consultants, and I'll get into that, but they were the difference between me and every other broker. They were in my back pocket. They were the people who gave me the open applications and violations on properties before I listed them, before my buyer put an offer in. We knew the hair on every deal before any sort of pen to paper was put down. That's where I started to find the love for strategy and partnerships. And when I started to kind of open up my eyes towards how people make investments and how I could be doing the same thing for myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started. And then that's when I bought my first multifamily in Jersey City. And it was the same process there. We found it off market. I tried to see if the numbers made sense. If they did, then I went to Metropolis to understand what am I not seeing. That's always the key thing. And then it all made sense. So then I purchased it, and I just applied that same pattern to the people I worked with.
Yeah, really interesting, right? Because what you found is in advising your clients, having a resource like a Metropolis, and it's something we promote all the time. In fact, it's the impetus of the show, which is Start with the Close in Mind. But that there are things, you don't know what you don't know, right? So there are things that your advisors or that your service providers can help you with if you get them involved earlier. In your case, you kind of found this ability to find things from having the access to Metropolis that allowed you to see deals in a different way and in a way find deals in a different way. And now you have gone from advising clients from a brokerage standpoint to investing in your own multifamily deals.
Exactly. Even from the Metropolis end, because Metropolis works with such an array of clients, right? And even from the client's end of purchasing multifamilies or purchasing any asset for that matter, they they know that there are typically open applications or violations on a property, or they know based off of the year of the asset they're looking at that they might not have a C of O or an I card. And so they come to us up front. And what's great about my past with selling real estate is that I could speak to things a little bit differently than maybe everybody else in the company can, because I sold real estate, because I invest in real estate, and because now I'm in this client services where we should look at the zoning and the use groups. Are we code compliant? What's the strategy to get these violations off of my property? And how much time and money is it? It's not just sometimes a matter of dismissing the violation, paying the fee, and walking away. Sometimes there's work involved. And that's really where my expertise comes into place. I have finally, over the past year, have really found my niche and really found what makes me tick on a day-to-day basis, but also where my value is in advising clients, in investing, not only with clients and a group of other investors, but for our people that we service. And it's really cool. It's really cool. And I enjoy working with the family office, because if a deal comes across my plate that I think is really awesome to invest in, I always present it to them. And if they're up for it, great. If not, sometimes it's a smaller group of us. But I've always kind of been in this game, not only because I grew up around real estate. My dad started Metropolis right when I was born in 1988, but I grew with such a love for it because I always was somebody who loved to build things, make something out of nothing, help people. I love helping people and providing them with details that maybe they couldn't have gotten if they didn't have resources like we have in our back pocket. And so having it all come together, and then also just ideally build something for my kids, invest in something for my kids. That means the world to me. So being able to do it every day and shifting where I need to is part of the fun.
Yeah. And it speaks to your experience too, because you are
Yeah.
able to shift where you need to. And what you
Mhm.
really identified there is the ability to problem solve on, in this case, real estate deals.
Mhm.
For our really astute clients, they are very upfront with the research and due diligence that they do,
Yeah.
especially in this market. General transactions that we are part of, again, with these student investors, they're running a lot of due diligence upfront.
Yeah.
And shameless plug here, right? We have a residential product called Home Facts, and then our
Mhm.
commercial version of that is the Cornerstone Report. Essentially, it reveals things, some of the things that you mentioned, like violations, liens, whether or not there's any litigation, just impediments that you generally don't find out until later, and you should
Mhm.
know about it soon. My point in bringing that up, though, is oftentimes when they run these reports with us, there are, in some cases, a lot of violations or a lot of things that need to get fixed, and it makes them actually run for the hills, right?
Yeah.
In your case, it's a lot different. This has helped you realize that when you, in this example, get that type of report, you know what to do with it, or you have the resources to be able to solve them, right? To the point where you
Mhm.
can now invest in it yourself, or in the case where you're advising a client, you can help them through that whole process, and now they can buy the property and, in essence, find a deal, right? Because
Yeah.
we've heard the term distressed deal before, and this would be a category of that, in the sense that there's a lot of things that most people don't really want to partake in or have to go through the labor of fixing, whereas you can help
Yeah.
them fix it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And sometimes our clients too, if we're on the ownership side, sometimes they don't even realize what's on their property, right? I had a client one time they wanted to sell a multifamily building in Queens. They had 300 violations altogether on their property, and they had no idea, but it was a passed down generational home. And it's not even just the violation and the money to clear it. It's the things you can't see. Like I said before, are there any civil penalties associated with those that typically we can't negotiate on? They come from the city. So it's just understanding the asset that you're either buying or selling before you actually, dig into it and start, putting it on the market and purchasing and pitching it to your investors or the bank for that matter, or
Right.
title, right? You want to get all that up front.
Right. I mean, so what you highlighted is the other side of it, which is the person who thinks they can solve everything and then realize that there's certain things you just can't solve, right? That you have to go through the process or the red tape of the city or the bureaucracy that is in
Yeah.
control of whatever the violation or fine is, right? That you
Hmm.
mentioned civil penalties, right? So civil penalties is one of those items where an expediter isn't really, they're just going to help you identify the fact that it's a civil penalty, right? And it's a different process
Yeah.
that you have to go through in order to even solve that.
Yeah, and people don't even realize, depending on what it is, they accrue daily. So
Yeah,
it could be a hefty number,
yeah,
and we're unfortunately the bearer of bad news in that case, but we came to you with it. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, there's a solution for everything. It's just sometimes the solution is not always what we want to hear,
exactly.
you
That's
know?
that's very well said. So
Thank you.
we've been talking about, you know, being an investor in property, helping
Yep.
others get property. You are and do sit from a strategic standpoint in a family office. How do
hmm
you think about capital? What is it that you look to invest in yourself? How do you
hmm
kind of, filter through all the stuff that I'm sure crosses across your desk?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, where do I start with that? So, it all started with the multifamilies, the small stuff, 3 families, 4 families, even my little apartment in Manhattan, just to kind of get it going and see, am I doing this? Like, am I doing this right? Do I like this? Right. And then real estate is so much about like who you know in your network. And my network over the past 10 years, I will say this, I built such a beautiful network. Like, and you're in that, right? They're really good people who we all want to support each other. And some of my network owns assets, and sometimes they want to, unload them to carry them onto something bigger. And maybe it's the right size for me at that time. So they present me with that deal. And I have a great partner for my investment projects in Connecticut who is incredibly savvy with investment deals. So we often work together a lot on underwriting and seeing what the opportunities are. And that's what I do. I lean on the people that I know, the people who own assets, and we underwrite them as well as we know how. And then I have some people that help me with the buffers, but I also use some tech that is now very big in obviously our world, in the commercial real estate world, that is making a big splash. So I leverage that as well, and try to get the full picture as best as I can.
Yeah, it's interesting you
Yeah.
bring that up. I feel
Yeah.
that every role you've had gives you a different lens and
hmm
perspective, as I said on the setup and introduction of the show. And the
Yeah.
more lenses you have, I said earlier, it gives you a better eye of opportunities itself. And you just brought in technology, right? It's
hmm
it's you've shown interest in technology. I think it's beyond interest now. I can say it out loud now, but
Yeah.
or publicly rather, but that you are a founder in a technology and an emerging platform that's out there. First, how do you think about what made you think about technology and real estate in general? And then tell us a little bit about your platform. Let the
Yeah.
audience know about it.
Sure. So I always, when I was pregnant, which was about 2 years ago now, somebody else, I had done an interview and they were like, what do you think is going to be different about the industry in a couple of years? And I was like, tech, 100% prop tech. Like, we are real estate, we're a little behind in the tech spot, I would say. But now there's more and more prop tech coming out because AI has made such a huge hit with everybody. And when I came back from maternity leave, I had been networking with a great group of guys who had founded a platform called Realm.
Hmm.
And between our relationship and our conversations, all of us sat down over this past summer, actually, and we were like, this is a gap in the market. This is what we should be building together. And more recently, they made me the founding head of sales, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But there's such a beautiful marriage of where my past in real estate has taken me to where I am now with Metropolis, now having this partnership with Realm. And Realm essentially is, we built this commercial real estate brain. We use AI to do research, modeling, and data management for an investment that you are particularly interested in. You can get all of your details on the research, the pro forma, and data side in under an hour as opposed to a couple of weeks. And what this does, it's a couple of plays here. It makes you a little bit more efficient. You can underwrite multiple deals at once, not just, one at a time. And
Yeah.
then it's an overhead play too, depending on how many analysts you have in there. You can keep a handful of your savviest to work within that platform and really sift through deals. And some of our clients, I mean, they're sifting through like 20 deals a week, and they need all of that information up front. So I use that for some of the investment opportunities that we do come across as just like an initial hit. And then in the back end, I get all my Metropolis information on my zoning. How big of an opportunity is this? If I buy this portfolio, what can I develop on it if I go to sell this in a couple of years, or if I want to develop on it? There's so much that comes into play. So the marriage of Realm and Metropolis, which is really nice, is Realm gives you all that upfront data about the building and the numbers. Metropolis gives you all of the stuff you don't see, the open violations, the remedy to how to fix those, the open applications, meaning how many alt ones do you have open on this property?
Right.
Do you have a C of O? What's the filing strategy in order to get this to where we need to be? And we put all those numbers together. And honestly, at the end of the day, if everything lines up, that is a perfect investment, in my opinion, because you have so much at your fingertips to know if you can make a move, honestly, within 2 days rather than a week or 2 or 3 or however long it's going to take you.
Yeah. And for the audience, Realm is
Yep.
RELM, correct?
Yes. RELM.ai if you want to go check it out. Realm
Yeah.
Pro.
And it seems like one of the things that you've found or figured out how to incorporate is AI in real estate. That kind of term has been thrown around, AI in general, for quite some time now. And then AI and the desire to apply it to real estate, more recently. But it seems like you've figured that part out, which is very important because AI, like you gave in your example, should be really viewed at as a super assistant or a super advisor that is able to do things a lot quicker and with a lot less manpower than before, where I think you gave the example of just being able to underwrite multiple deals or looking at multiple deals at the same time, which is extremely powerful. So
Agreed.
it sounds like the opportunity realm came about organically within real estate, just within your network, and kind of this feeling that prop tech was the next, not so much wave, but the next real kind of play with getting you to a point and your clients and your members in your kind of world, and then to a greater audience now, just the ability to use a platform to help them really get better at finding deals.
Totally. And it was completely organic. Exactly like you said. It was all because I was networking. A good friend of mine from college had said, you should meet Evan, who is the CEO of Realm. At the time, he was just looking to meet real estate brokers, and I was brokering at the time. So I've known them for a little bit now. And it just evolved into this relationship where we all trusted each other. We all had different strengths in real estate, and we all had different networks. And like I said before, my network has brought me to a place where it just like lit a fire in my belly, seeing this bigger partnership and strategic opportunity for not only Realm and Metropolis to get together and really build something powerful, but for Realm itself, and for it to, present what a powerful tool it can be to not only the multifamily asset class, but now we're growing into office and we're going to get into retail and so on and so forth. So I'm really excited about it. It is a beautiful labor of love, and we're pitching phase 1 now. So I would love to show anybody who's interested. Yeah.
So anybody that's listening to this now, RELM, check it out. And, Kristin, you're bringing about the really juicy part of it, which I understand why, but there is a component of Realm that I feel that can be applied in everyday use. And from what I remember, it can be a portal that helps you find rentals. Is that right?
Oh, yes, we have a consumer site. So there is the consumer site that has listings on it, and it's all syndicated from the public sources that are out there, along with, I can't even tell you how many images that we have in our own database. So there is a consumer piece of it, but the heavy lift and the real power behind all of it is the pro, and consumer kind of feeds some data to pro, where it comes in with the comps and the unit mix. So yeah, it's becoming a monster of a tool, and it's going to be fantastic as it continues to grow.
Yeah. So one of the original successes in the story of the adoption of the Realm is with those seeking out properties just even for rent. And because of that, you're able to get some data points that directly correlate to what the expectation is on rent, or what they're willing to pay, or what the tenant is willing to pay. So you have live, relevant, current information in your system so that it ports over into the underwriting. When somebody is kind of looking in the area, you have reference points now that are live and not dated, right? So it's very powerful. I agree with you. Good luck with that. And
Thank you.
To the extent that anyone listening to this wants to know more, please let me know. But continuing on with just what we're talking about, what are some of the things that you feel people should focus on with the use of technology and in real estate? So to pitch it even better, you have Metropolis with solving problems. You have now Realm with identifying deals through the information that you have. How is that helping people look at deals better, just overall from the more high level kind of perspective?
It's like a full life cycle. And that's really at the end of the day what we wanted to build with not only Metropolis, but Realm, which is why this also works so nicely. At the end of the day, if somebody is looking at an investment and they know just from like the back of the hand of the napkin, right? Like the back of the napkin stuff just pencils out. They want to dive a little deeper into it. They plug the address into Realm. They get everything they could possibly need on this particular building, the comps, the written summary of the area and the building, the unit mix, and the financials, which is an editable piece as well that people can edit within there. And then it looks good from that perspective. And they say to Metropolis, we want you to then give us either a zoning analysis, or we want to convert this 3-family into a boutique condo building, but we want to understand the filing strategy behind it and how long it will take. It's a full life cycle of a job if you really think about it. And then we have contacts like yourself with title and real estate attorneys that we can speak to on the legal side of things. And at the end of the day, when you're looking at an investment, it's not just about the numbers. And if the rent makes sense, it's really about the full picture. And if there's anything that I learned in my real estate career from every angle possible, it's where is this opportunity today going to take me in a couple of years from now? And it's always been this greater path. And I think about my task and how I can help my client in that moment, or I think about the investment and if it makes sense for myself and our investors, and if it makes sense for Metropolis to tag in. And if it does, then I think about, where is this going to go after this?
Yeah.
And I think if I've just stayed in my lane, but also thought not so narrowly, and that's really,
Yeah.
really where we are
You're
today.
starting with the end in mind, or you're starting with the close
Yeah,
in mind. So that's
that's
a
it.
great
That's
bow
it.
to put onto our session today. Before we close though, Kristin, where can listeners follow you or find you?
Yes. So my Instagram is at Kristin-Fortino. I'm on there. My website for OnePoint is onepoint-regroup.com. You can always email me from there too. And I'm on LinkedIn, Kristin Fortino. So happy to chat with whoever, whenever. Happy
Yeah.
to.
All right, great. So today we talked about something that doesn't get enough attention, perspective. The more roles you have, the more lenses that you develop where opportunities can arise and grow organically in the case of Kristin. And the more lenses you have, the better you become at identifying real opportunities or seeing how the path is charted. In your case with prop tech and how you found Realm, or how it found you, however you want to look at it.
Yep.
Because at the end, the deals aren't just found, they're seen. You have to see it, in order to, get it. So when you start with the close in mind, you begin to understand how decisions made early shape outcomes later. With that said, thank you, Kristin, very much for your knowledge and your experience with OnePoint, Metropolis, and now Realm. I look forward to future sessions. And for the audience, thank you for joining us. If you need any connections to Kristin, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you.